connection issues, technological difficulties, technological problems. This is going to happen, and it's probably happened a lot in this modern world of online classes. What happens and what do you do? How do you handle it when you come across connection issues and unstable internet? Let's go. Hey there, teachers. Jesse here from Sweet Academy, and I want to help you in your lessons, especially your online lessons, where sometimes we have connection issues. Have you ever had that happen? You're in the middle of a class and then, okay, my acting is not that good, but you know what I'm talking about. But what do you do? How do you handle this? Connection issues with the internet, it's going in and out. Maybe you've kept your computer on for days and days and days, and for some reason it's slower. Maybe you have Windows open. Who knows? Maybe it's the other person. But I'm going to give you 3 kinds of ideas and ways that I've handled it in the past that seems to work pretty well. So let's start with number 1. Connection issues are like a fart. You don't want to play the blame game. You don't want to blame the student or blame the other person on the other line. And you don't want to really say, well, I don't think it's me because I just had a class. You know, something like that. Like, you don't want to shift any blame toward you or away from you, right? Just let it happen, because it happens to all of us, doesn't it? So try to fix it, try to work your way through it and survive with it, and try different things, right? Sometimes I'll troubleshoot first. So typical troubleshooting, I will check how many tabs I have open, how active I am downloading or uploading something. I will check how many programs I have running, and then I will close all of the unnecessary programs that I'm running. That's first in my troubleshooting. Second, I might restart the my program. Normally it's Zoom that I use these days. So I'll restart Zoom and reconnect. If we're still having problems in our call, typical troubleshooting things, I will encourage my student and I will restart my computer, right? Or reconnect our Wi-Fi if necessary. But usually my go-to response is, how long's it been since you've turned off your computer? And then they'll say, I don't know, a couple of weeks. And because that's the answer for me, I'll say, yeah, me too. How about we both restart our computers, reboot, and reconnect and see how that works. And that way, so I love this. I love this because you're not blaming them and they're not blaming you. You're not taking the blame, because you both are probably thinking the same thing. You both are probably feeling a little guilty and embarrassed because you both think that it could be you. Okay, restarting, you both doing it at the same time. We don't know who it was, but it doesn't matter who it was, because hopefully we'll get a better connection. Also, another reason is because if the problem is them and I restart my computer, then we're back at square one. We don't even know. So now you try restarting your computer. That wastes even more time. And then if that works, then it would have just been faster if we both did it at the same time, right? So that's why I love that response. How long's it been since you've restarted your computer? I know, me too. Everybody does that, don't they? That's it. Boom. And then after that, if it still doesn't work, then I'll restart my Wi-Fi or do the same trick with the Wi-Fi. I can't believe it's still not working. How about we both go restart our Wi-Fi and reconnect our Wi-Fi and come back and try it? If you're both doing it at the same time, it doesn't matter, and you still don't know whose fault it was, because it's nobody's fault. These things happen. And that brings me to number 2 about these things happen. Relax. Don't worry that you're going to lose this student forever and they're going to hate you, or they're going to give you a bad review if you're on italki or something, because you can always handle it, right? It's not about what happens to you. It's about how you respond to what happens to you. So you have connection issues and maybe it takes up like 15 minutes of the class, right? Well, how do you handle that? Well, if you have time, then ask the student if they mind staying 15 minutes later or 20 minutes later. Like, do you have time to stay, or are you in a rush? Because we lost some in the beginning. Something like that, right? Offer them something. If you missed a bigger chunk of the class, like half, maybe it's a 30-minute class and you missed 15 minutes, that's half the class, right? Then, and if they can't stay after, offer them some extra time after another class, or offer them a free class or a free makeup class. Give them a link to a free class or something, right? Make it fair. Be fair for everyone, especially them, because if you're fair to them, if you're fair to your student, then they're going to have a good experience. And we want our students to have good experiences. And then if you've been with the student a while, then of course they'll probably understand. I'm sure of it, because you have that kind of relationship and connection. If it's a newer student, that's where this offering an extra class or offering extra time, that's where it will come in, because you're building that trust. Because you're being a trustworthy teacher, right? You're being a responsible teacher, and that goes a long way. And they'll even probably write that in your review. So you can always turn this negative into a positive. And I guess that's the biggest thing to remember, is to try to turn this negative into a positive. And that's with anything, right? And that actually brings me to tip number 3, is turn it into a language lesson, right? There's so much vocabulary and so many expressions, useful expressions about that situation, that even advanced students might not know, because it's very particular expressions or phrases, like breaking up. Am I breaking up? You're breaking up. I can't hear you. You're cutting out. Phrasal verbs galore, right? You're cutting out. You're cutting in and out, right? And there's always somewhere to go, right? It's not what happens to you, it's how you respond to it. There's always a chance to turn a negative into a positive, right? Breaking up, cutting in and out, cutting out, fuzzy. If my picture is fuzzy, or if it's pixelated. Am I pixelated, right? If there is an echo, there's an echo. Reconnect, restart, reboot. All of these expressions, and so many more that you would actually naturally say to them, because you're speaking more from the heart when this happens, because you're more emotional, right? So use these and target these ready as you're using them. I like to keep Google Docs, a Google Doc up for every student and every class. I have a Google Doc for each student, and I will write those in the doc for us to work with later. So use this, especially for when you get reconnected. Use this as an English lesson, a vocabulary, expressions, useful natural language, real expressions that you can teach them, and turn this, again, negative experience, a negative lesson, into a positive lesson that they'll remember. If you like this idea and you like videos like this, then click that subscribe button and the bell. And YouTube thinks you'd like this video, so you can check that out now. Keep teaching and keep learning. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.